The SqWAYre is back, and it's better than ever. So a few weeks ago, I launched a multi-tool that I made a limited batch of. They were laser cut. I figured I'd sell some. They ended up selling out really fast, and there's a lot of interest in it, which has just been super amazing. One of the things is that, you know, since 98% of the world uses metric, and I made mine Imperial, one of the biggest comments was, how about a metric version? How about a metric version? So I designed a metric version. This is just a prototype cut out of steel. And in the process of designing the metric version, and based on some user feedback from the original version, I made some changes. It's better than ever. It's got more features, which means I had to also redesign the Imperial version, which I have done. And they are both available for pre-sale right now. As soon as this video is launched, they will be available for delivery, fingers crossed, by like Cyber Monday, like the end of November, so I can get them out in time for the holidays. That's the plan. So the pre-sale this week will... I have to cut it short to get them going in the factory. But so what I'm going to do is, with the added features that I'm going to describe in a minute, the production cost went up a little bit. So for the pre-sale, I'm going to eat that production cost and sell these at the same price as the original one. And after the pre-sale is over, they will continue to be for sale prior to being made, like a secondary pre-sale, but I'm going to just include the increase in production costs. No more profit, just production costs is going to get included into the price, and then they will continue to sell until the next batch sells out. But the pre-sale is going to dictate how many I make. I'm going to make more than that, obviously, but like how much interest is generated in the pre-sale and how quickly they sell will help me dictate how many I should make for the regular sale. And one last thing I wanted to address real quick, to the people that purchased the original SqWAYre, first off, thank you so much for making this all happen and for giving us your feedback to me and helping me redesign it into what I think is a slightly better version than the first. So I hope you don't feel bad that you're like, oh, well, I just got the first one. You're all very special and important in this whole process because you're like part of what is making it happen. And you know, your feedback and encouragement and ideas have really been, so that's really special to me. What I want to do for you is, I unfortunately can't like just give you all a new one. Of course I'll go to the poorhouse, but I thought it'd be fun when I have them in hand around the end of the month. I'm going to do some giveaways. I'm going to pull, I have all your names still and all your, I'm going to do a random number drawing and give away a couple of them to some of the original purchasers. And if you have one or you bought another one, you know, it'll be a great Christmas gift or whatever. And also, when I do that drawing, this is the original SqWAYre that I made myself by hand out of a piece of steel. You can see I hand etched it, the measurements in there and whatnot. And I thought I would give this away too. It's obviously more for memorabilia's sake than anything. So someone's going to own this, I'll sign it or do whatever you want. You know, I don't know. So now that you have the information on all the sale logistics, and it's also going to be in the description below, and I'm going to post it all over social media, and I'd ask all of you to please do the same for me, because I know there are some people that came late to the party last time because they didn't see it. So share it so everybody can see it and help make this really happen. That would be super cool, and I'm going to be kind of annoying about it. I'm going to be posting it a ton. Now I'm going to cut to some shots of showing you the difference between the old one and the new one, and the included features and the added features and all that fun stuff. So check it out. All of the additional holes means more laser cutting machine time, and the fact that there's two of them means there's a little bit more setup time, and there's two screens, so it has increased the overall production cost of these a little bit. One of the ways I'm trying to keep the costs down is I'm actually physically going into the laser cutting fab shop where these are being made, and I'm doing a bunch of the grunt work by hand myself, so I'll be deburring it and all that stuff when they come off the laser cutter. So these are going to be, you know, again, made in my hometown of Wallingford, Connecticut, by a small local business, but they'll actually also be partially, besides being designed, handmade by me as well. I will have scraped every one of these and sent them on to the next step of the screening process. I couldn't, in good conscience, just print metric onto the original design that I had, because while this is 7 inches and the metric equivalent is about 18 centimeters, it's not exactly the same size difference. So just that right there made it worthwhile to go ahead and do all of this design over again for the metric. And so in that process, that's what made me kind of rethink some things from the original design, and then also some feedback to add some things to it. To begin with, let's start with what's the same. On the original SqWAYre, we had these two rulers. we still have those. You can see they'll be printed. These are just dummies that are cut on just regular steel. The final ones will be cut in the same high quality stainless, and it will be the same baked on screen print ink. All the other ways are just not cost effective at all. So this has 18 millimeters, 7 inches. I put the same holes for finding centers real quick. And you can see here I did them in the metric one. I did it 3, 6, 9, and 12, as well as at 5, 10, and 15. But now here's what's new, and then the inch one, the Imperial one, is still the same. But here's what's new is I did it twice. So you can see on the original version I just had one set of holes, and on this one I now have 2 sets of those holes that are identical. So if you're trying to find your edge or your center or whatever you're looking for, so let's say I'm looking for a 1/2 inch from here, now I can mark 1, and then there's another one right there, 2, so now I have 2 points, so I don't have to move the tool to get a straight line. When I designed the original one that I made by hand, I had this radius corner. I ended up losing that radius corner and putting this in instead, which is a reverse, which is not as useful because I have all these very precise measurements I wanted to tick out, and with that corner radius I couldn't do that. I found a solution that I think is a little better. You can see it better here on the Imperial one. What I did here is I put my rounded corner that I wanted, which is very useful for simply quickly marking corners that you want to round over. And but now instead of having all those precise measurements, I removed some of them. Instead I added some ticked eighths. So we can go from here to here would be 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 1/2 inch, all the way up to 1 inch. And then in here we have some of those precise measurements. We have a 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, another 1/2 inch, and then from here to here is 1 inch. So that way all of them up to the eighths are here for quick reference, and we can still keep our radius corner. The metric version, we did the same thing. We have a 1 centimeter round over, and I have these very, very tiny ticks here in 2 millimeter increments, and then the last one is 5. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 5, 10. Then here we have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 15, 18, 21. And then over here we have them in threes. And then here we have 12, 25 I think it is. Yep, and 12 millimeter quick references here. So, oh yeah, and then 10 millimeter from here to here is 10. The other thing, some of these holes here I made really small, so your pencil has to be really sharp to work, but that was a comment and a complaint that some people had on the original, was that maybe some of the holes were too big, and so I'm reducing the hole size a little bit. On the original we had this compass, so you could very quickly draw radiuses up to about, I said 12 inches, but it's actually 11. Now it is 12 inches on the Imperial one. So we still have that. Oops. And then on the metric one, we have the metric equivalent of whatever's similar to that size, all built in there. But I added something else, and this is a big thanks to my buddy Justin Sparks from Make Build Modify. He helped me design this. So we have, obviously we have our 90-degree angles, we have our 135 here, and we have our 45 here, like some of these basic angles that woodworkers use. But now what I've added, this is the metric one, but it doesn't matter. I added these holes here. Hold them up so you can see them. See this row of holes here? And again, when it's inked, they'll be labeled. But so what these holes do is they allow me to have a compass up to just about any diameter all the way around a circle in 5. So I have 5 degrees, 10 degrees, 15, 20, 22.5 right here, 25, 30, 31.5 here. Those are, if you don't know, don't worry, you'll learn someday. 35, 40. So now I have all of these points that I can easily get. 5, 10, 15, 20, oops, 22.5, 25, 30, 31.5, 35, 40, and then my 45 is right here. Suppose I want 50, I take my 45 and I drop this on here, and now I have 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, and we're back to 90. So now it's a protractor too. Of course, it still works as an awl. Our dowel cutters. They are 12 millimeter, 6 millimeter, and 3 millimeter. Suppose we wanted to find the center of this plywood. Now, when it's finished, of course, there will be all of the marks there, so we can measure the thickness, and we'll say it's, well, here. See if we can do it for real. That's going to be 18 millimeters, so that means 9 millimeters would be the center. So we take our tool, and there's two ways we can do this now. One way is, this is our 9 millimeter hole, it'll be marked 369. But now we have two 9 millimeter holes. There's another one right here, so instead of having to move the tool to make the second hole to get your two straight points to make a line, we don't have to move the tool anymore, so now we have our center line. The other way you can do it is, this is the way my buddy Justin Sparks does it, is he knows it's 9, so he finds the 9 hole and he bisects the 9 hole. Now we have two of them, so we bisect both of them like that. So we can see that the wood is bisecting the hole, and we make it bisect the same hole here. And now we have a nice straight line that we can draw our line on. The metric one has this 1 centimeter roundover that'll help you just sort of make accurate marks. The Imperial one has a 1/2 inch roundover, so it's a little bit bigger. Suppose you wanted to do a larger roundover. Another way you could do it is you can take your square, line it up, pencil in your 45. Now line that 45-degree line up into the holes of the compass. There it is. And we'll put this very first hole right on the corner. It's a little bit tricky to see, but once you see it, you see it. So now we can take and stick our ice pick right in there, and we can take this first hole and round it over like that. I don't use mechanical pencils in the shop because I just don't have any in the shop. So if you have a really nice sharp pencil tip, of course, that helps. You can see on the Imperial one, the little 1/8 inch ticks are pretty wide. I think there's half of a 1/16 inch circle or a 32nd, I don't remember. So you can get your pencil in there and make these nice little accurate marks. On the metric one, the holes are much smaller, so with even a traditional pencil sharpened really well, you can see it and you can line it up and you can mark it, but it is a little tight. With a mechanical pencil, it'll fit right in. I might actually widen those just a teeny tiny bit, but I kind of like them the way they are, because if you're talking about trying to use these to get really accurate marks, they really shine with like an ice pick. So you can see here, I can slide the ice pick right through that little groove, and these are all 2 millimeter ticks, and then over here are 3 millimeter ticks. And you can really see the accuracy. Right here, those are the 3 millimeters. Those are the 2 millimeters. I apologize that I don't remember who posted it, but someone posted a very funny video saying that the SqWAYre was a piece of junk because it was a terrible saw. Well, in the Imperial version, with the addition of the 1/8 ticks, it actually can saw wood now. So take that, buddy. Thank you all for watching. Please share, like, subscribe, all that junk, and be good.